Your evaluator is Timo. Is there
Wow.
Are we ready?
Wow.
The sign. Yeah, I forgot to give you guys that. 要按照可以说。
你觉得这个那个应该要10分钟吗？不会慢慢的说。
慢慢的说吧，慢慢的。I saw food in there. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of course.
JJ showing
It's about my experience, so I have to talk about that.
We have to. Yeah.
And that's it.
So,
Okay. Okay, now we'll start.
say a few more.
Take a deep breath. Welcome everyone. Welcome to tonight's Toastmasters San Francisco Mandarin and English Toastmasters. We're going to have a really fun show tonight. Tonight's topic is going to be horoscope and astrology. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up our Toastmasters, and they are Sue and Alberto. So give them a round of applause.
How do you go, please? It was by chance that we choose the theme for today, astrology. But when we choose astrology, we have a lot of things behind the scene which we don't see because the Toastmaster was Kathy, but Kathy has a problem with her daughter, and she was sick. She's sick. And then Sue jumped to the whole thing, and then I realized Sue liked astrology too. So the thing is going to be astrology. Some people think astrology is a single science. You can think about whatever. Some people think it's a science. But also the astrology is related to the horoscope. And probably you read your horoscope every day. Maybe you will say no, but when you get in the morning, you go to the newspaper, and, oh my gosh, what is this?
今天晚上的题目是新香水，我正喜欢新香水的。你们听过新名家苏珊·米勒？没听过，他是很有名的新名家。我每天看他的，我自己的我是天蝎座的，所以我每天看我自己的。然后我们今天的单词是星座。这个也一样的，差不多的感觉吧。
We're right now in the Sagittarius time, it's the arc. And some people like to do different characters. And I just copied one of those things that people write down related with something. It wasn't the horoscope, but related to 4 things. You can read this easy, you understand what it is.
我在读，对，现在的星座是射手座吗？是，对，这个我也喜欢这个星座。
So mostly of the horoscope are related to 4 things of what we call the 4 elements. One is career or your professional development or your growth development, whatever. The other one is health. We always do the horoscope, but I am healthy. You know you are healthy, but you go to the horoscope. Or you ask the lady who do the whole thing. And the third is about relationship. And we go through the different emotions and love and whatever. And finally, one of the most important things people look for horoscope is use the numbers and wealth, money.
Personal relationship，我也自己，我的家人都看这个4个东西，
I love it is where you mix the characters in the Chinese or the East calendars. You get two dragons. It's something else. You can combine the two dragons together. It's intelligence and double luck. And sometimes like fire versus fire. The only combination is the dragon versus lion. And you see it's like opposite, but they have something else connected. And I like also another one, the dragon versus snake. Even they're, trying to kill each other, but they use one intuition and one in power. And they're just connected. There is thousands of books you can read about combinations and it's like permutations in astrological, mathematical, in Chinese, in Indian, or any culture. Sometimes people believe it, don't believe it's in fact, but it's for fun.
谁是龙？在这里谁是龙？还是谁是蛇？龙，你是龙。蛇。认识你很高兴。我是龙，我也是龙，所以我们可以很好。还有我们可以很聪明一致。
You guys are the same age or 12 years?
我今天晚上给你一个任务吧，只告诉我你们自己的座号还是属相，好不好？好吧，好。
So we want to invite you to have, to use the word horoscope during the speeches or during the table topic, insert. It's like doing a second period, you talk and insert. And it's the whole idea, just to have fun. So we have the accountant, which is Kayla. Can you explain your role, Kayla?
Oh, counter, I just count your这个那个 and all of these filler words, or you repeat yourself like people use like a lot. And I'll count, so be careful. Thank you.
Also, we have the timer. Emily.
Hi. So I am a timer. For the speech, after 5 minutes, I'm going to show green. After 6 minutes, I'm going to show yellow. After 7 minutes, I'm going to show red. For evaluation, after 2 minutes, I'm going to show green. After 2.5 minutes, I'm going to show yellow. After 3 minutes, I'm going to show red. For table topics, after 1 minute, we'll show green. After 1.5 minutes, we'll show yellow. After 2 minutes, we'll show red.
谢谢你。我们准备好了吗？
Sure. So we have the portions divided in 3 parts. We have speeches, table topic, and the general evaluation. And we have 2 speakers in English and 2 in Mandarin. I believe everyone's here as well the evaluators. And let's start with the first one. My friend Johan. He's happy today. So I sent the email to Johan. Why don't you just title your speech? Everything is connected with astrology and horoscope. See, the 3 steps to the happy life. It's connected. I don't know. I didn't plan anything. Everything is going through on the normal way. Ladies and gentlemen, Johan, and 3 steps to the happy life.
Okay, so I want you to think about your life and ask yourself, am I happy? Really think about it and ask yourself, am I really happy with my life right now? In today's world, life is very busy, and with all the hustle and bustle, we rarely have time to reflect upon that question. Many people are so busy with their schedules that they rush around from job, work, to home, sleep, and next day repeat, that they don't necessarily have time to think about that. And many times we neglect one of our most fundamental needs, and we don't even know that we have been neglecting it, that need for a happy and fulfilling life. So today I will share with you 3 steps that you can take to increase the happiness in your life, and ultimately how to make it more fulfilling. Let's take a closer look at fundamental components of a happy life. So the first key step to increasing the happiness in your life is maintaining an active lifestyle. This is accomplished first and foremost by doing some form of regular physical activity. Whether it's hiking, running, walking, doesn't matter, so long as you do some form of strenuous physical activity regularly that increases your blood flow, your breathing, and your heartbeat. Consistent physical activity plays an important role in regulating your endorphin and dopamine levels, which play an important role in turn regulating your mood, which in turn makes you feel better. Health studies have shown that just walking 15 minutes every day can have a tremendous impact on increasing your mood and reducing the effects of depression. A second aspect of maintaining an active lifestyle is by joining and becoming involved in social groups. You can join clubs, organizations, or social groups, or just keep yourself mentally engaged through volunteer work. But the great thing about joining social groups or organizations is that they keep you emotionally engaged, which is very important to, they keep you emotionally connected, and it's very important to keep in making you happier as a person. Studies from social scientists have shown that people who are involved in social groups or organizations are much happier on average than people who are not involved in any form of social clubs or organizations. I bet you didn't think about it when you came out tonight, but did you know that on a sociological basis, you're actually, by coming out to us, SFNet, San Francisco Mandarin English Toastmasters regularly, you're actually on average happier than people who are not involved in such social groups or activities. So being involved in social groups and organizations and staying physically active are both important elements in maintaining an active lifestyle, which will in turn reward you with greater levels of happiness and make you feel better about yourself as a person. Now that we've taken the first step to living a happier life, let's take a look at the second element for greater happiness: maintaining good relationships. So there are 2 aspects of relationships that increase our happiness. The first is interacting regularly with a social circle of friends. As humans, we are social animals and require social interaction with others for our well-being. When a person is limited or deprived of social interactions with others, it can have tremendous negative repercussions on their personal well-being and their individual happiness. Studies by sociologists have shown that, for example, in prison, prisoners who are put in solitary confinement for punishment, where they are shielded away from any form of human contact or interaction with others, has tremendous negative impact on their mental health as well as their physical health. So as you can see, being isolated from human interaction is very detrimental to our personal happiness and our well-being. So it's important to maintain just some form of social interaction with your social circle on a consistent basis. Even if it is just going out with a friend for a cup of coffee, this simple action will go a long way in ultimately keeping your mood up and maintaining your happiness in the long run. Getting together, talking, and simply socializing with your friends is a very important factor in personal happiness. The second aspect of relationships that can increase our happiness is being in an intimate relationship with a significant other. As humans are social creatures, intimacy is also vital for keeping us happy. So sharing a close bond with another individual can have a profound effect on how we feel about ourselves. Studies have shown that that over long-term durations, people who experience human touch and close intimacy with another person are, on average, much happier than people who do not. Being in an intimate relationship with another individual can also make you feel really good about who you are as a person and about your place in the world. Hence the saying that people who are in love feel like they are walking on air. Ultimately, maintaining regular social interactions, whether it is with friends or with a significant other, is a key element to making our lives happier. Now let's take a look at the third element to living a happier life. As simple as it may seem, it is smiling. So when we are happy, we naturally smile, and genuine happiness can be projected in a smile. In every culture around the world, among all types of people, a smile is considered a good indicator that a person is happy. Now, studies have been done that show that facial expressions not only reflect emotions, but can also cause them. So now how does this relate to increasing happiness? Well, smiling can be used as an exercise to improve mood. Now, I'm not saying that if you're feeling terrible and you smile for 2 minutes, you're going to shoot across the emotional spectrum and suddenly feel great. No, no, no. But what I am saying is if you are emotionally neutral, simple smiling exercises can tip you in the direction of a positive mood. So I'm sure you've all had that feeling when you're walking down the street and you pass someone by and they smile at you, and you automatically, unconsciously smile back, and you suddenly feel a little bit better about all of a sudden. You don't know why. Yes, smiling has that effect. So in 1989, a psychologist named Robert Zajon performed a study in which one group of subjects was asked to look at pictures of people smiling. A second group of subjects was told to smile, do smiling exercise, and a third group was told to smile while looking in a mirror. All three groups reported that they were much happier after smiling as opposed to before smiling. And not surprisingly, the group that was asked to smile in a mirror was the happiest of all. So, while smiling cannot immediately shoot you across the emotional spectrum, it can tip you in the direction of a positive mood and feeling better. Now, these three elements, maintaining an active lifestyle, maintaining good relationships, and smiling, are all key steps that you can take to live a happier and more fulfilling life. The first, maintaining an active lifestyle, is about not only doing some form of regular physical activity, but also joining and staying actively engaged in social groups or organizations. The second element, maintaining good relationships, comes out of our basic human need for social interaction and bonding, and stresses that we reach out to members of our social circle and friends and maintain some sort of regular contact. And finally, the third element, smiling, can be used as a simple exercise to positively influence our thoughts and mood for the better. Most of us incorporate one, two, or all three of this into our lives already, but the most important thing is to remain consciously aware of these three aspects, of these three components, to make sure that we are incorporating them in some form into our lives. Ultimately, happiness is a choice, and we need to make that choice to make ourselves, make our lives healthier, happier, and more fulfilling. Thank you.
Thank you, Johan. We didn't plan the whole thing. Johan said 3 things, right? And there are 4 elements: career, relationship, health, and money. So there are 7 elements.
我也完全同意，真的，今天晚上很开心，因为我是中文主持人。第二个，现在我们再给你们一张纸，为了苹果糖，我们给你1分钟。
苹果。 He's creative. He likes to imagine things, and he likes to play with the computer, with the iPad. And today he has a really surprise speech because I tried to figure out what's Qigong.
Yeah.
Qigong by Barry Shea. Qigong by Barry Shea.
So I will let my body speak today. What is this? I agree with you. And what is this?
Cheese.
Oh, victory. From Japan. And what am I doing? Yeah. Yeah, got it. So I will talk about Qigong, and Tai Chi is one form of Qigong today. How I encountered was this. I was sending my kids to Chinese school, and as they're learning Chinese on Saturday, and they also offered a Qigong class in the Chinese school. So I started attending the class, and the master there is actually pretty good. So I was engaged and I learned how to practice Qigong, and it's actually not as difficult as most people think. So what is Qigong? It's kind of a way of practicing your breathing, your internal organ movement, and then also your inner awareness. And then that's in the form of either exercise, or some people think it's a meditation, and some people think it's just a sort of a healing process. I practiced Qigong for about a year now, and I feel I benefit a lot from that exercise. So how many people actually suffer like carpal tunnel syndrome or back pain? I think Adam is a chiropractor. So I working from the computer a lot of times, so I had a pretty bad sort of carpal tunnel syndrome. And then since I practiced Qigong for a year now, I feel that actually helped me a lot. So that covered Qigong, what Qigong is. And what is number two? There are actually two theories behind all different forms of Tai Chi or Qigong. If you translate the word literally, so this is actually, and this is actually Kung Fu. So you kind of, through the practice of Qigong, you exercise your internal body and then your inner meditation process to sort of balance your inner world with the outside world. And two things actually covered here. This is so it's the main theory behind Tai Chi. It's there are two elements actually consist of Tai Chi. One is Yin, one is Yang. And this is also related to astrology, right? I think Chinese, a lot of theory actually came from the Yin and Yang and how actually the two elements form the entire world. And Qigong actually follow the concept from the natural. So a lot of the movement and the practice and form actually involve you either push out or you withdraw, right? There's always one way or the other. There's always a yin and there's always a yang. And that's the big theory behind Tai Chi and Qigong. And how many people actually practice Qigong? According to my master, what she told me, there's about 200 million people in China actively practice Qigong. So it's actually pretty amazing. It's surprisingly a pretty huge number. And number 5, it's about 5 elements. That's another theory behind Qigong. A lot of Qigong form actually has something to do with this number. Either you have 8 different sort of form, or you have 8 different style. And that's because there are 5 elements. In Chinese culture, they believe other than yin and yang, there are another 5 important elements that consist of the whole entire universe.
the gold, wood, water, fire, and the earth. And you can probably spend, if you search this 5 elements, you could probably find a lot of Google links talk about how this theory behind this, and then what's sort of the actual meaning of all these 5 different elements. But in short, it's kind of similar to yin and yang. But they believe there's 2 concepts behind this 5 elements, right? They're either they're either self-generating, or they're either self-overcoming. So in Chinese, that means 相生相克. And one element will generate the other one, and then this element will generate another element. But at the same time, one element will be overcoming the other one. And then that also is in alignment with the yin and yang theory, which in the whole universe, everything needs to be in the fine balance, right? You can have any element that's overcoming or over-dominating the other 4. That's imbalance. So Qigong is all a lot about not just practicing, but also talk about some of the Chinese philosophy, especially yin and yang. So to sum it up, it's not as hard, right? It's actually pretty easy. I personally enjoy doing it. And you can practice Qigong anywhere, anytime. And you don't actually have to have a lot of restriction. Compared with other exercise, you either need to have someone to play with, or you need some kind of equipment, or you need to have some kind of field. So yeah, Google around and then search for Qigong or Tai Chi, and then find some time to exercise with this type of Chinese exercises. I think you will be benefiting from this. Thank you.
Hi guys, didn't plan anything. Here is 2 + 5 = 7, right? And east is the west, and we are here. I don't know. We didn't plan anything. Sorry? The meeting, we sent the email, said there is no meeting, and then the meeting was getting together. I believe in astrology. I don't know. You think about it.
我觉得这个跟星辰学有很多关系吧。我也看过这个，我的维密有很多水，所以我要火，所以学游泳。游泳。我也游泳。对，所以这样子，我觉得这个很有兴趣的题目。还有我们。
So the next portion is yours.
对。第3个演讲人是一个美国人，还有他说很好，还有他可以选，还有写，我觉得很厉害、很给力的女人，女孩，跟我一样的龙 Alice， 我们欢迎她吧。对不起，第1个演讲。欢迎公布，欢迎公布。
大家好。我的演讲没有名字，但是有话题，起码有话题。我会中文不是我母语，所以我会慢慢的说。谢谢你们的耐心。希望你不会睡着。我想给你来说，我住在中国的经历。我不喜欢跟别人分开，但是如果没有分开的话，也没有冒险。所以2010年8月，情况就是这样的。3天早上对父母告别。然后上车去飞机场，这就是为了去冒险，为了去中国开始新的生活。 这不是我第一次去中国，但是之前的一次中国行只持续了2个月，但是这一次我足足待了两年的时间。在那时候我刚刚毕业了，想看看世界，所以我考的一个教英语的资质，然后申请了一个在中国当英语老师的工作，所以这次对父母说再见真的不容易。从离开家的那一刻，从离开家的那一 ，sorry， 从离开说am I gonna get this？ 从离开家的那一刻起，我的生活开始变得不稳定，不知道在大洋的对面有什么事情，或者有什么困难，或者有什么惊喜，正在等待我。第一个让我惊讶的地方就是我住的地方。我公寓是在大连偏僻的一个地方，所以邻居全都是中国人，全都不会说英语。教我汉语来说是很不错的地方，但是也是有一点儿孤独。后来我交了新朋友，2个加拿大人，然后我们一起搬进了室内中心。他们比我大，而且他们住在中国的时间比我长，所以我经常要靠他们。他们给我介绍中国朋友，还有中国菜。说到这里，让我来介绍中国菜。我非常非常喜欢中国菜，我觉得非常好吃。担担面、水煮鱼、地三鲜、土豆丝、锅包肉。你们知道锅包肉吗？就是一个在东北的一个东西，很像咕噜肉。饺子然后海鲜，大连的海鲜很特别，就算不用调料也可以吃，很好吃。好像旧金山没有特别多地道的中国菜，所以我觉得太可惜了。不吃饭不出去玩的时间要做工作，就是教英语。第1年我教了小孩，然后第2年我教了成人。教小孩很好玩，因为很可爱。他们有时候会突然说很有趣的话，比如说有一次我们在上课，学生注意了一个别的老师的裤子一直都很大，因为他太瘦了，所以他一直都是这样的。所以一个学生突然喊了：“老师，你的裤子掉下来了。”还有一次，我给学生玩一个游戏，就是模仿小动物的游戏。然后一个学生举手问了：“老师，我们真的会变成小动物吗？”所以我觉得很可爱。从我在中国的时候也想理解中国的文化，所以从中国学生朋友和我男朋友身边，我渐渐地理解了中国和美国有什么不同的地方。一个不同的地方是健康，中国人和美国人对健康的看法基本不一样。我觉得中国人觉得喝热水对身体好，美国人觉得喝热水很奇怪。中国人觉得早上多吃，晚上少吃，美国人的习惯是相反的。我在中国开始用了中国人保持健康的方法，我觉得喝中国茶有 大效果。开始喝的时候不喜欢，但是渐渐的我开始改变，并喜欢上中国茶。所以我最喜欢的茶就是大麦茶，大麦茶很好喝。我住在中国的时间让我越来越了解这个很棒的文化，所以特别喜欢这里的生活。但是每个冒险都要结束，也意味着新的冒险开始。2012年，我男朋友被旧金山的学校录取了。这次，所以我们来这儿，我们一起来这儿。这次我们是一起去新的地方，一起去冒险。当然我们很想大连，但是我们还是希望了解这个很惊艳的世界多一些。好，谢谢。谢谢。
这么严厉，我们是龙。好吧，还有我们第二个中文演讲人是很可爱、很好看的夏妮。
好，大家跟我一起来一个小活动，大家站起来，好，大家站起来，请您把眼睛闭下，呼吸。好，当我说美好人生的时候，你们个人的美好人生是有些什么？谁在你身旁？你在做什么？感觉到了什么？你身旁有哪些东西？是哪些颜色？还有哪些味道？好，谢谢。坐下。如果你想写下来。在这个时代，很多人都在寻找这些答案，跟约翰一样讲的一样。很多生活上的专家给不同的意见。今天我想跟你分享我个人的理想，我个人的理想对美好人生上的理想。对我来说，其实并不是很复杂，但是不一定很简单的就能完成。对我来说，美好人生有3点。第一点就是吃得好，第2点就是睡得饱，第3点就是不要后悔。我们讲第一点，吃得好。Allison 我已经讲过好吃的东西，我这次都很饿。我们中国人对吃的这方面很有兴趣。我有些外国朋友问我说，为什么你刚吃早餐就是想午餐，刚吃午餐就想晚餐，刚吃晚餐就想早餐，明天的早餐？就很好奇。其实我觉得吃对我们中国来讲，对我来讲，不是为了只有 味道，就是吃的满意，吃的很满足、很过瘾。而是吃的过程跟经验是我最喜欢的，我觉得是一份在人生美好的很重要的观点。在我烹饪上的时候，在我煮饭的时候，过程是给我自己机会来修养。而且我觉得亲朋好友吃饭的时间是很神圣的，但是就是说跟亲朋好友一起的，就是团体活动，来接受的机会。所以我觉得吃好是对人生很重要的。第二点就睡得饱，谁喜欢睡觉？我也很喜欢睡觉。我觉得睡眠跟心跟身都有很大的关系，对生活上有很大的影响。如果我睡不好，我身体就觉得很不舒服，我精神就不好，很虚弱，我的态度也很差，没有耐心，做事做不好。所以我觉得睡眠对我来讲很重要，在我美好人生上面来讲很重要。睡眠的对新陈代谢也是非常重要的，所以睡得饱是我第二点，我美好人生的第二点。第三点就是不后悔。不后悔，我不知道对你个人来讲不后悔是什么意思。对我来讲，就是说不要偷鸡摸狗。偷鸡摸狗的意思是就是说很诚恳的时候，诚恳的对别人做什么算什么，不要偷懒，但也不要逃避对自己的责任，不要对自己来偷鸡摸狗，要争取自己想要的东西，要勇敢面对挑战，自己来创建自己的未来。宝贵现在，不要想过去，也不要想未来，就是现在。握那一时一刻，不要后悔。例如，如果你今天晚上有朋友要约你去吃饭，如果你就是早上如果工作有问题，或是晚上有很多事要做，你选择要去的时候，就是在那边，不要再想早上，也不要再想有什么事要做，就是100分米的在那边。所以我觉得这个美好人生对我来讲有3点：吃得好，睡得饱，不要后悔。不过我觉得幸福美好的答案是很简单的，那就是活着你自己的生活，不是别人的，活着你自己的生活。我也很希望也很鼓励你们自己来体会到你自己的生活真理。谢谢。谢谢。
我忘记给你们时间评估它，还有它1分钟。
We only have 1 piece.
Oh, you can have small pieces. You want more? Yeah, you can cut it half. Be creative.
I got some. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll share.
Anyway, during the time I was listening to the chat, we complete the first part of the meeting. It is very with the flow of words, right? It's what we did the first time in the other meeting. We did the flow of words. I just tried to make you to do today differently. You know, this is Toastmaster, but for some reason today is one of those days.
Special edition.
Yeah. And the whole thing is moving around. We have have only 33 or 32 days to end of the Gregorian calendar year. I don't know what it is. 3.26.5. Everything is corrected, but I don't know. If you believe it, it's fine if you don't. Think about it. The next portion is the table topic. The first portion is is going to be done by our presidente, Alan.
Okay.
Are you ready? Alan?
Okay, we're going to
Say
start.
yes.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And Alan is dressing in black.
Black, that's right.
We're dressing in black.
Well, I guess we're going to have to switch up the agenda just a bit. I'm going to start with the Mandarin table topic. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, 那我们现在开始我们接下来的即兴演讲部分。OK， 所以这个部分是由我来提出3个问题，然后每一个问题我会叫一个人上来演，然后来回答这个问题。那你的时间是1到2分钟，怎么回答怎么都是你的 freestyle， 所以随便来。OK。那今天我们讲的是太极气功，不是要讲星座吗？
对啊，
星座学嘛，对不对 ？OK。All this OK。星座对我来讲，其实我个人怎么讲，我不太信星座这种东西。OK， 我觉得这是一个很好的 reference， 可是我觉得星座对我来讲只是一个好玩的，然后大家可以共同聊天的一个题目。OK， 可是呢，我身边很多的朋友们，他们都很信这种东西。有些人在选他们的女朋友或男朋友的时候，他们会看自己的星座是什么，然后再用书本来挑说他们对哪个星座最符合最好，然后他们才会特别去找这一类的男朋友或女朋友。OK， 所以我今天的第一个问题是讲说，如果你今天是一个很信星座的这类的人的话，那可是你又遇到一个你很喜欢的一个人。可是他跟你的星座是完全不符合的星座，那你觉得你会不会还跟他一起有这一段美好的恋情 ？Barry，
简单来说就是找不同的出路吧。就在星座里面，其实也有很多不同的系统嘛，像其实中国的12生肖的星座跟美国就是像双鱼、牡羊这些星座，其实有时候它的 prediction 叫什么，就是他们的预测的东西其实是相反的。就譬如说你想想看，如果你在同一个月份生的，你可能是譬如说你是属龙的，但是你可能是另外一个星座。那在这两个系统里面，你应该总会找到一个是你跟另外一半是能够相合的地方，你就朝那个方向去走，这样子。就是我的想法，我的原则基本上就是说，任何事情都有正反两面，阴跟阳，一定会有一些好处，会有一些坏处，那你就是尽量 focus 在往好处的那边去，替自己找出路了。好，
所以你的意思就是说，你要找中西合并就是了，
找对你有利的，
或者是魔法什么东西都不合起来，
找对你有利的。
OK， 那OK， 所以我第二个问题就是说，很多人说像我，然后他们说我是巨蟹座，对不对？他们说我其实是一个怎么讲，应该很爱家的一个人，自己我讲的都觉得很好笑。OK， 对啊，他们说我应该是一个很情绪温柔、很爱家，虽然有时候常常会有点情绪化，不过他说 in general 我是一个很好，很容易跟人相处的。OK， 那当然有一些我觉得有些蛮对的，像我很容易跟人相处啊，我人很好啊，长得又帅又有风趣，这些讲的都是对的啦。不过我现在要问的下一个题目就是说，你应该知道自己是什么星座，你现在到现在为止，你应该是知道自己是什么星座。那他们也会讲说，你的星座会有一些特别的性质跟你的特色。那你可不可以上来讲一下？他们说譬如说在书本上面讲你的特色是什么？那你觉得这些特色跟你的本身的人有没有很相近？谢谢。
是很龟毛，然后斤斤计较，然后是那种也是很情绪化，然后很挑剔。但是我觉得我还好，我没有很挑剔。但是星座好像也有说，如果你是，比如说我是9月16号嘛，我是比较靠后面的天秤座，所以我有一些气质是跟后面的天秤座有关系的，所以我可能是处女座和天秤座的结合。我有时候会有一点挑剔，但是也没有非常挑剔，非常龟毛。我还想补充一下，我认识的巨蟹座都是很爱家的人。然后我觉得，因为星座，我觉得是先看人，就是你先认识了这个人，然后你再知道他是什么星座，你就会把这个星座往他的身上靠，然后你就会觉得越来越像，越来越像，越来越像。但是而不是就是这个星座，然后这个人是这个星座，然后你就会把这个人往这个星座上面靠。我觉得是相反的，所以还是。
OK。那你认识的巨蟹座，他们也是都很帅、很风趣。对不对 ？Right？OK。那我们的下一个题目，这个是比较属于自由发挥 ，OK？ 因为我们总共有12个星座嘛 ，Right？ 那现在呢，如果你可以把你自己的星座给拿掉，然后从其他11个星座里面来选，说你最想要哪一个星座的条件跟那些性质的话，你会想要选哪一个星座来当你的星座 ？How about you? The timer. I forgot your name. This is Amy. Amy. That's right. Amy. Come on up.
我也是巨蟹座的。
哦，还又是风趣又漂亮。
对，所以就是那个 Alan 说了那个好处啊，对我就觉得挺爱家。然后因为我也不是太了解别的星座有什么特质，所以我也觉得巨蟹座是最好的，就是，所以我也不是很清楚，因为我没有研究过别的星座，但是我觉得他们说巨蟹座说的还是挺准的。别的星座，如果是换一个月份的话，或者是8月份出生了，就是我都挺喜欢夏天出生啊，觉得挺好的。Yeah.
Okay, thank you. 所以今天整个的结论就是，巨蟹座是又爱家又漂亮又帅。Toastmasters.
也对，我是天蝎座，我喜欢我自己的，我也很，我也爱家这样。所以今天晚上我们的即兴演讲中文已经好了，然后我们有一个英语即兴演讲主持人，他是很好，他是。
Okay, so we talked about astrology from the American or the Western culture perspective. So let's switch gear and talk about astrology from the Chinese perspective. As we all know, Chinese have 12 animals that represent your astrology and your sign, and also each one of them has personalities involved. Like being the monkey is really smart, really with quick thinking, talented. Yeah, so I'm the monkey. So. And snakes being the wise, wisdom, dragons being the smart, whatnot. So tonight I'm going to present 3 questions to you guys in regards to the Chinese astrology. For some of the folks here who are not Chinese, what is your astrology, and what do you think, if your astrology does your astrology really talk about who you are? So for American people here, does anybody know what their astrology is? Okay, so Marshka, would you like to come up and talk about whether the traits whether the traits that's being said fits your westernized personality?
humble, and depending on the situation, I can be those. Like a giving, compassionate personality. I think in general, I don't act like a typical dog because that's not like humility and loyalty are not the cornerstones of my personality. That's not like the most fundamental thing you see. It's not that I'm not, but it's just very peripheral to who I am. What was the second part of your question?
Pretty much it.
That was
Whether
it?
it fits your personality.
Yeah. I honestly don't think so, but I mean, I don't think everyone born in our year was supposed to like match up with the dog either. I mean, I think what we associate with dogs is someone who really likes to please people, someone who really likes to be with other people. I think these kind of characteristics are also part of the Chinese zodiac. But yeah, I'm a so-so dog.
Or being the so-so dog. Okay, so the second question regarding to astrology, or Chinese zodiac, I should say, along with this Chinese astrology, is the fact that I think Alan touched upon the compatibility of different animals coming together. I think I were to point out that if you're a dragon and you marry somebody who's a dragon, you might have a lot of fires going on. Intensity. And if you're a monkey, maybe with a rabbit, or the best one is my mom and dad, like a tiger and a rabbit. Well, the tiger's going to be the dominant one. The rabbit's going to not be so dominant one. And it turns out my dad's a rabbit and my mom's a tiger. And it really works out that way. In most relationships, you would think it's opposite, where the man's going to be dominant and the woman's going to be the submissive kind, but unfortunately that's not the case. So now, this is actually more to the Chinese people here. For those who know their astrology, which animal would you prefer to pick to be your mate? Which animal would you prefer to pick to be your mate? If you know your astrology, or if you don't know your astrology, you could come up and I'll give you some guidance. Think about that. Anyone you want to answer that, Timo?
What do you charge? Alright, so we have to do this together since I need guidance.
Okay, so what's your astrology? What's your Chinese zodiac sign?
I'm not sure.
What year are you
It
born
would
in?
be fun to look it up.
What year are you born in?
85.
85. So.
Which month?
I like
Oh no, there's
If it's January, then you're the year before.
Yeah.
What month?
Are you born before January or after January?
You know,
After.
After. So.
there's a cow.
It's a cow.
I'm a cow.
Yeah.
Bull. Okay,
Yeah.
so
I'm a
you're a
bull.
bull. You're a bull. Okay.
So,
Good.
Dragons are my
So what you have to choose from are chicken, rabbit, dragon, tiger, lamb, goat, rat, and anybody else?
you know, I think I already know.
Okay.
I already like the selection. Intuitively, I would go for the tiger, but I would also like to hear the characteristics of the tiger, just to know if my intuition matches the characteristics that I would be looking for.
Okay. So the tiger is prone to be dominant. The tiger is smart, intelligent, leadership, and the tiger has an ability of, let's see, not so much patient, aggressive.
Yeah.
Is that someone that you want to be?
It's really good that I asked. Now I'm thinking probably a monkey. I'm gonna go with monkey.
Okay, good. All right. So, obviously, knowing your zodiac and knowing who is compatible with you is quite important. And of course, zodiac doesn't tell anything because in the year of 365 days, you get so many people with so many different traits. You have the horoscope breaking down by month. So definitely, what the common traits does not apply to any of the horoscope. I personally don't believe in Chinese zodiac or the horoscope. And so the third question is, if you were to replace a system of belief along with something like a horoscope or a zodiac, what kind of system would you replace so that it is more in line or more fitting to describe a person's personality? Would you then segregate it down by weeks to have an animal, some sort of star? Would you segregate it down by, or keep it as a month, or bi-monthly, or annually? How would there be another form of a system where you think is more fitting, other than the two systems that we talked about today? Kind of a hard question.
It is.
All right, Xiang, you come on up.
So there's a system that I was part of in a team building activity that I think will really suit the purpose of figuring out who you're compatible with. So the team building activity was everyone is sort of moving around the room and the topics presented. So you can say, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream, strawberry or chocolate? And everyone goes to like a corner, or it could be vanilla, whatever. And then you start saying, what's important to you? Money, title, status, health, family, whatever it is, and everyone goes to the corner. So I think that would be a really good system to sort of sort out the people you don't want to be with and get closer, physically even, to people that you want to be your mate. So the more you see the same person throughout the exercise, I think it'll be a really good way to find a match.
Thank you. And that absolutely makes sense. Rather than saying you're smart, you're aggressive, you can say I like vanilla, and I like pizza, and all the people belong to that group, and it absolutely combines together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We finished the second block. This is the whole thing to have fun today. We start with advice, and then we get through to the whole process of what you suppose will you, whatever. Alison brought her wisdom for the first initiation as a speaker, and then she had talked about those issues, sometimes how to have a beautiful life. Everything is connected, but we don't know how. Anyway.
第三个部分是评估部分。我们今天晚上的评估总评估员是他，叫 Alberto， 欢迎他吧。
Great. Can provide the evaluation from Johan. Words of wisdom for today.
Alberto. 3 steps to a happier life. First off, Johan, I liked your title. When I first started speaking, I thought the titles weren't very important, but actually I've learned it's very good practice to come up with a title, and especially the words life and happy or happiness, that relates well to this group with the focus on Chinese culture, where you keep seeing life and happiness, those sorts of things. The title creates interest before you give your talk, then it also helps people remember what you were talking about. Another thing that I liked was that the talk was very professionally delivered, and it also had great content. For me, the content is very critical. Also, another good point was that the talk was well organized. It was very clear to everyone what the organization was. Now, as for points for improvement, one thing that I thought would improve the talk was if you had less use of and I think the best way to counter that is to just simply give more talks over time with the feedback that goes away. Also, I have mixed feelings about the fact that you talked quickly. I like things that are fast-paced, but it might be good to vary the pace a little bit, and then also keep in mind that there are English is a second language speakers here, so especially if it's something complicated, you might want to slow down. Now, I said the organization was a positive, but I also have a little bit of yin-yang. I have some negative about the organization. I understood the exercise, and then the social groups, and then the relationships, and then smiling. And so I'm not sure if the social groups went with exercise or with relationships. Overall, though, it wasn't a detrimental point to your talk, but I had a little bit of trouble understanding. It seemed to me there was maybe 4 things. Now, getting back to the positives, as a native English speaker, and just as a matter of course, I read the New York Times, The Economist, The New Yorker, the Harvard Business Review, and I'm not trying to brag, it's just I'm a native English speaker, and I find those things interesting. And I really loved your phrases, like you mentioned hustle and bustle, detrimental effects, shoot across the emotional spectrum. All those things were really good uses of English phrases. And also, I really enjoyed that you recapped things at the end. Finally, you ended with happiness is a choice. So it's not something set by your horoscope, but it is a choice, and I'm very much pro that choice. So thank you very much.
Timo, are you ready for the evaluation?
I am ready. Very evaluation. There are so many things that Barry does well. That's why I'm just gonna, touch on a few of the really good things he does, and then focus on the most important thing to evaluate on the speech today. I think we can always count on Barry to come up with interesting speeches, interesting topics, topics that grab everybody's attention, and his organization is, as far as I've seen so far, is always good. He does a good intro, he always knows what he's talking about, and he concludes really well too. And what he meant to leave us with is always what I leave with. And he always repeats this really nicely. Today, his speech objective was to use body language, combine all these good things with body language. And I think body language combined with, speech is very powerful. And if you ever done theater or, seen a play, one of the first things they tell you, your coach will tell you, is don't turn your back to the audience. Because you always accept speech if someone is looking at you. If someone's looking at you, you know they're talking to you. So you start listening, you start paying attention, and you start to, register. So one thing I see is, writing on the board and, using this as a tool is a really good thing. But I think sometimes we get carried away and turn our back as we're writing, and it can create a lag. So the attention sort of goes to the board, and then as you're writing, there's a silence. So it, does a bit of a stop, go, which I think interrupts the concentration. And maybe it's good to, write a few things and not a lot of things, so you don't lose the attention of the crowd. And I think one of the things I saw was after you wrote, instead of turning back to the audience, you were looking in this direction. And especially for someone like me who was sitting on that side, I found it a little difficult in myself to get back to that state of mind that I was when you first started your speech. That's the main thing I'm going to say. I noticed a few times that, since you're writing, naturally you turn your back completely, and I would definitely avoid that. And one thing that I think about when I, evaluate speeches is, I don't know if you ever had a professor or a teacher who was really, captivating. You you really love going to that class, and this is kind of a rare situation too that you really love to go to a class and sit and listen. But they rarely use tools. Even if they do, it's very brief, and their voice fluctuates too, because when they want to grab attention, they speak a little louder. And I think it's something you might want to use as well. But overall, of course, like I said, there you always use great speeches. Thank you.
Más chico y chiquillo. Is Alan? Okay, Alan. Alan, evaluation for Alison, the icebreaker. Yeah. Welcome, Alan.
Thank you, Alberto. Okay, Allison. I believe this is the first time we met.
Yes.
Hi, how are you? Okay. Should I do this in Chinese?
You can. If you speak slowly, you can.
Okay. All right. Okay. 今天的演讲的目的是要你在台上跟大家演讲，然后第二个就是说要看你还有演讲的一些的你的潜力，或者是你知道你演讲有一些已经有的好处跟不好的地方要在哪里。所以今天你的演讲的题目是，我一直都很喜欢做第一个演讲的评估员，因为可以让我们知道你是谁，然后让我们知道说你是从哪里来的，然后 that's why you're part of a family, right? You're gonna be part of a family. 那你的演讲，第一个我可以注意到就是说你的 presence 很好，你的态度很好。然后你虽然说你需要看草稿，因为你可能是用拼音在上面，是不是 ？OK， 虽然说你是用看草稿，可是你还是想要 to make 那个 eye contact 跟大家 make eye contact。So that's a really good effort there. That's really good. OK， 然后还有当你讲中文的时候，你每一个中文字都讲得很清亮，然后很清楚，因为你可以 enunciate 每一个 word。这是一个很好的一个 trait， 因为很多时候像我们本地人自己讲话的时候，我们都不能像你讲的这么清楚。可是你一个字一个字把它讲出来 ，it's very very good。可能是因为你自己是老师的关系嘛，你在大学是当老师，所以这些是让你有一个很好的 skill。这样子可以，我这样讲速度你可以听得懂吗 ？OK， 然后还有当你在讲食物的时候，你讲说什么担担面啊，或者是讲什么还有些什么。饺子啊，对啊。当你讲的那些的时候，你整个感情很丰富，所以当你在讲那个的时候，你可以让我们整个知道说，你现在在讲，你现在很喜欢吃或很喜欢做的东西，可以让我们深深体会到说 ，you like food and that's part of your life and that's why and also that's part of the reason 为什么你会这么 enjoy 这个中国这个地方 ，OK。然后还有一个很好的事情就是说，你的 body 的 motion 还不错，因为你常常会做一些动作。虽然说你都是站在这里，不过你的动作还蛮不错的，会这样动一动，让大家更 engage 你这个整个的 speech。那当然有些地方还是要进步一点点。虽然说你有动作，不过我是希望说你的动作可以再大一点，因为这是你的舞台嘛。OK， 从这边到这边完全都是你的舞台，然后这是你的 show，so make it fun of it. You're the main character of the show， 所以你一定要多用这个舞台，让大家更可以 engage 一点。看他的眼神，用手稍微抓一下 ，That's very good. That's good technique to use. 然后第二个的话就是 notes， 因为当你做 icebreaker 的话，如果你能把前面一开始跟后面最结尾你背起来的话，你可以让整个的这个 speech 听起来更有信心，让大家知道说你是一个很有自信的一个人。Other than that, it's really really good speech. I'm really looking forward to your second speech. Okay.
JJ.
我是evaluating 相宜的 speech， 然后我现在想说，我太喜欢你讲话的那个语速和音调了，因为你讲话的时候是不紧不慢，然后音调也非常好，是让人很舒服的感觉。就是你的今天讲的是第二个演讲，然后你的目的是要组织你的这个演讲。你有很好的结构，就是开头和内容还有结尾。我非常喜欢你的开头，因为我看到这个题目的时候，美好人生，我的脑子里面就闪了一想我的美好人生是什么，然后我就大概想了5秒钟的时间。但是你开头的时候，你是让大家站起来，然后让大家想一下大家的美好人生是什么。我觉得这个很好，就是首先让大家先自我感觉，然后 个大点，吃得好，睡得饱，不后悔。我觉得你的先是说一个一个说大点，3个字的大点，然后再一一详细说明，举了你对你自己最有影响的例子，就是给大家留下非常深刻的印象，有一个画面说啊，你的美好人生是这样这样这样这样，我觉得很好。然后你的转折部分也很好，你是说第一什么什么，第二什么什么，第三什么什么，非常的清楚。最后结尾就是留给大家一个思考的问题，就是怎么样，什么是我们自己想要的一个美好人生，让人就是有一个遐想的空间，我觉得也很好。最后我想说一下，你的眼神交流非常充分，因为你有时候在这里说，然后你有时候坐在这里说，然后都是看着大家说，觉得很好，很舒服。然后就像你说的一样，你的眼神很诚恳，所以给大家一个很好的一个说服力。站姿和手势也都给人家一种很自信的感觉，我觉得非常好。我觉得没有什么就是很大的缺点。可能就是也是像 Alan 刚刚说，就是可能舞台这么大，可能也可以就是充分的利用这个舞台以后，其他也没有什么很大的缺点。谢谢。
Kayla, I come to report.
Yes, sir.
You react, eh?
Yeah. The first one, yourself. I didn't catch anything. The second one, Sue. I think I didn't catch so much 这个那个, but you need more confidence when you speak it. Because when you on the stage, you control the stage. You should be more active. We are passive. So you should be more confident. Don't ask us how to say it. Just say it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, more confidence. And Johan had 20 hours as your evaluator mentioned. 20 hours. And Barry had 2. Allison had 3. Xiangyi had 5. Robert had nothing. Alan first. Alan had nothing. Barry nothing. JJ nothing. Amy nothing. Robert nothing. Marshika nothing. Timo nothing. Xiangyi 2 on. And then Ken nothing in the evaluation. Timo had 2 and 2 on. He's gone. Alan had nothing. JJ had 2 然后 and 2. Oh, she's gone too. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Any time report.
Oh, yeah, okay. This is my first time to be timer.
Yes.
I have a question. If I hold this, so I keep holding this, or I just hold?
Yes.
I should keep holding this.
Yes.
Okay, I see. Okay. So the first one, Johan is 9 minutes and 1 second. Barry is 6 minutes 34 seconds. Allison 7 minutes and 8 seconds. Zhang Yi is 6 minutes 29 seconds. And then table topic. Am I supposed to calculate the people who bring up the question or no?
No.
Okay. So for the Mandarin table topic, Barry is 52 seconds. JJ is 1 minute 13 seconds. Amy is 1 minute 5 seconds. English table topic is Marshika is 1 minute 3 seconds. Timo is 1 minute and 39 seconds. Actually, half of the Timo's speech is done by Robert. Yeah. And Zhang Yi is 56 seconds. And the evaluation is for John, Ken is 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Timo is 3 minutes 21 seconds. Alan is 3 minutes and 5 seconds. JJ is 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Wow, pretty good. Finally, we had a meeting. It was the whole idea. And I like the evaluations because evaluations provide the tips. When the Timo said drama, it's really important. I recommend anyone to take drama class. A drama class provides you the strength, how to move in the stage, and how to say